And we're back here. Main event on Thursdays means Uncle Lou joins us. VSIN, of course, Gamblu.com. Dale's joining us for this segment as well. Really quick point of clarification. Okay, I thought it was an out because I knew something happened. It's just a dead ball on that play. So he did get awarded first.
Okay.
You cannot catch a ball with anything but your jersey. Yeah.
No, anything but your glove.
Anything but your glove or hand, I think. Yeah.
Right,
I knew that on the hat, but I didn't realize. I'm sure you should get it at that point.
Right before you came on, Lou, just to explain to you, there was a line drive hit right back at a pitcher at 108 miles an hour. Somehow, it came lodged inside his jersey. So he's looking around for it.
The
and
spin.
then
It's
right here.
spun in or something.
Right here. Oh,
Yeah.
let me
So,
get my page.
And so we weren't sure if it was an out or not.
So it just becomes a dead ball. It does get awarded first. So
thank you to give credit to your source.
I want to thank Grok for telling us that.
Dead ball awarded first. I mean, I would.
Autumn gave me that.
If I had to guess 10 of them, that would be the last one. I should guess he's out.
Yeah, that's what you think.
And the ball never hit the ground.
If I lay down and my 2 feet catch it,
he's
he's out.
I know if you catch it with your hat, it's a dead ball and stuff.
Well,
but I figured a jersey
okay.
where it gets hit into there, I just assumed. I know, but baseball's got all those weird rules, right, that we have to deal with. But of course, Uncle Lou VSIN, you can find him there, contributor on that find programming for gambling, and then of course Gamblu.com as well. Lou, how you been, man?
I'm doing great. We're in the middle of a fine, great time of year, and there's no NFL, and so that creates a huge vacuum. It makes the UFC much more popular, and guys that cover it like me, maybe a smidge more popular. At least I'm busier, have more opportunity to speak, because there isn't that shadow being thrown on college and NFL, which is great. So college baseball's getting ready to start manifesting into playoffs and such. We have hockey playoffs, so we're a week into hockey playoffs. I know we're going to talk about that. UFC, all the passion sports is what Uncle Louie covers.
Right.
And I love covering.
Okay, but Lou, you sitting down here on a Thursday morning. You're sitting down there Thursday morning. It's the start of the NFL draft, and you're telling me there's no NFL? The NFL draft tonight, the hockey's going to be way down viewership-wise. Basketball will be.
Dale's such a polished professional because we've done this for years, and he knows my position. You led me into that perfectly, and thank you for that. And I'm going to say it nicely. To me, it's folly to think that these billion-dollar NFL organizations are going to allow any information out of their inner circles. If they do, it's on purpose. And so the common man like me, to think that I'm going to be able to predict what these teams – no, I think the draft is looked at completely incorrectly because of the void of NFL, and they need it so bad. So you get everybody predicting and betting on it. No. The NFL season actually begins the day after the draft. And I'll tell you why, because at that day, you now get to look at 3 days or X amount of rounds where each NFL team once a year tells you as much about themselves as they ever will, because it's a public draft. And they're telling you all they did was the Cardinals took offensive linemen. Maybe they want to solidify their offensive line, run the ball. Okay, so the draft tells us how the teams look at themselves. Why would I try and guess what they're doing? That, to me, that is the greatest waste of time. And it frustrates me that people do it and it's popular, but let them all chase their tails. I got hockey, college baseball, and UFC to cover.
Yeah,
absolutely. So really
Thanks,
quick,
Dale.
Robert also says, doesn't everybody go to counseling after a friend's trip? Dale, that's the other thing with Vrabel.
Oh, yes. I wanted to comment on that. All the guys in counseling are the guys that got caught. That's like that is Aristotle right there.
That's Vrabel now. He's missing the NFL draft on Saturday.
I know. I read all about it.
Yeah,
and you know what? What do you know?
Robert also had that was a dead ball also on that
in
play,
today's day and age.
Right.
When they found Saddam Hussein in Iraq, in his own country, in a bunker out in the middle of nowhere. I don't want any trouble with the man.
Yeah.
So I'm out. Now you're going to go and play like that. Oh, we're going to be cute. We're going to leave the Biltmore and go up to Sedona. Oh, baby.
Well, I contend.
Why don't you just go up with balloons?
I contend that was like a hit piece against him because the way just at that resort, the way it was photographed and things. That's
apparently
come out,
there's
so.
more. There's something going on.
Yeah. I saw something this morning.
You don't
no,
want
I'll
to see
put it
it
this way: it's a public secret in NFL circles. What's going on? It's just nobody's going public with it.
Yeah,
but it's known in the background.
Oh, sure,
what's
yeah.
happening
No,
between
the
those
inside
guys.
of each organization or institution.
I mean, they do all this research on the draft picks tonight. They know about these coaches and what they're doing before they pump money into them and stuff like that as well. But Lou, no intro today, but I have to say at least, right? Gamblu at Gamblu on X. Follow him there. The Sneak Tea podcast out for this week as well. Always comes out Sunday night, Monday morning.
Yes,
about
thank
business after the weigh-ins on Friday. Give if you can, if you have the ability and looking for places to give, of course, give it to your favorite charity down there in southern Tucson. Say that name.
The Mission of San Xavier del Bac.
And
it's located just south of Tucson. And Steve lets me mention it every week. It's near and dear to every Arizonan's heart. It's the oldest mission in the country, for crying out loud. It's like built in 16-something. Going under renovations now. They're doing really, really solid community work there, and they have for centuries, not just decades. So easy place to support. Any information you want on them can be gleaned from going to the Gamblu webpage and looking at one of the top tabs, which is where you can find everything on me. Thanks for letting me say that.
Oh, yeah, no worries, but I wanted to make sure that people know where to find you because we, of course, are, college baseball's wrapping up. ASU's hit this big slide. We've been high on them the last few weeks. They've started to lose some games, lost again last night. SEC, of course, and ACC is doing really well this year. We are getting ready to start here in about a month now, the conference championships, of course, and then into, the regionals, super regionals, and that fun stuff coming up here. UCLA still number one, dominating.
Yeah, listen, with puck passion every night, it'll go quick till we're in those conference tourneys. So I don't really – a team that's 22 right now like Arkansas, they're going to do better than that 22 ranking. Team like UCLA ranked 1, I don't know. Maybe we'll see. There's the whole season's in front of us right now. Yeah, we know who the big bullies are, but let's see what happens when each of these teams that's not SEC has to get in there and fight with a kid that's got 2 big brothers because that's a different fight.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so college, I just wanted to touch on it. Obviously, we have bigger things to talk about today. But I just wanted to talk about it here. But
I love it. Yes.
You're seeing some, Kansas is making some runs here on this list. Oregon has fallen. But Nebraska's back after being unranked. But Oregon State's still doing good. But you're seeing some guys. Coastal Carolina still, I think they dropped a couple points this week, but they're still up there. So you have the usual suspects is what I'm getting at. Obviously, Florida's not on that list. LSU out of it as well. Florida got back in? Okay, they're at 21. I didn't see that.
And they should make you weak-kneed Willie because that's a team that's made it to the College World Series with a 500 record and gone to the finals. So this is all going to percolate right now. The next big step will be conference tourneys, and then we're going to have to find out, like a UCLA, they're going to get a 1 seed, and how taxing or how far out will they really go to win those games in that first set at home when they're going to be the big bullies, they're going to be at home, and they have another week maybe where they play at home again coming up. Sometimes those conference tourneys, UCLA, they've already made their number 1 or number 2, 3, or 4 because they're
going to get a regional and super regional.
More than likely, they're going to get a home situation, and if they can manicure it that way, then that conference tournament may not mean so much to them or another team, and you got to watch that close.
Okay.
I'm not big into betting the conference tourneys. I'm more into seeing how they end up and how that field of 64 looks because it's bracketed just like the basketball tournament.
So let's move on to hockey here really quick as well. Hockey playoffs are going. You gave us some views last week. Your blog last week had some picks as well that you were leaning towards. You put that all out, if I remember correctly, on Saturday morning because we're waiting for the season to end last Thursday with some spots there as well. Dale is all ecstatic because he's going to be able to see the Mammoth coming up here up in Utah with a 1-1 series here against the Vegas Knights. First loss for Torts.
Well,
he doesn't know what the Mammoth is.
I know what the Mammoth is. Are you going to a hockey game?
No.
Oh,
I would love to, but Steve won't go do our show from up in.
Let's
I
go.
see.
Well, the schedule on this one.
Yeah.
They
I'll
beat the
tell
Knights
you
well
what,
now.
you'd probably find a cheaper ticket in Boston than you would up in Utah.
Yeah.
That Utah, it's on fire there.
Yeah.
And only half the team can see it.
In hockey.
Yeah, only half the
They
fans
have
can
strong
see it.
ownership,
Yeah.
and they're gonna buy their way. No, that ownership group with the local.
They own
there's
the
a
Jazz
wealthy
and
family,
everything,
right?
yeah.
Believe me.
Yeah.
Billionaire Stanley. But 1-1 in that series here. Torts lost his first game as the short-term coach here, at least 11 games into his tenure here with the Knights. Loses the game there. They're going back to Utah 1-1 in this series. What are you thinking? I know because you weren't high on Vegas. Then you kind of perked up a little bit. Last week we talked about it with their winning with Torts. What are you thinking in this series?
Yeah, pre-Torts, I had already thrown dirt on Vegas. Really, Torts came. I still was very skeptical until 9-10 days later when they had won 6 or 7 straight
7-0-1 to finish the
Right.
regular season.
And so that veteran team, that ownership group, and then now Torts, to overlook it would be really insane. It would not be a sound handicapping practice with those perfect alignments to overlook that team. So you can't, especially when you look at the bracket and you see where they're positioned down there with the Sisters of the Poor, the Ducks, and the Oilers.
Edmonton and Anaheim.
The Mammoth believe in one thing. They believe that the success of their season will come down to this series because they want to, in their first season in the playoffs, do to Vegas what Vegas did in their first season to another veteran team. And so the drive and the focus for the Mammoth shouldn't be underestimated. And the goaltender for the Knights, and they didn't lose by letting in 4 or 5 goals.
Yep.
I mean, he's holding up so far, and that's Torts' guy from Philly who came under his. So there's all kinds of stuff going on. That's a 7-game series that Mammoth have every opportunity to win.
Tell me this, because this Torts guy, Tortorella,
Yes, John Tortorella.
he was brought in with 10 games left in the season.
Night to go.
Correct.
Yep.
And how can a head coach make that what seems to be that much of a difference from my perspective to not lose a game the rest of the regular season with a team that's kind of logging along? How can he make such a difference?
Well, it's a championship caliber team as far as the composition and talent of the makeup of the players, number one. And it's hugely experienced, meaning they've won the last 4 or 5 years in a row.
Right.
And so something was broke down. And the coach, Cassidy, that came from Boston, is a tight grip, fire and brimstone coach. To me, what was more surprising is that, and the reason I was skeptical about Torts was because Torts makes Cassidy look like a romper
softie.
room.
Yeah, a softie.
And here comes Torts, who's Parcells and Belichickian.
Yeah.
Literally, that's how he does it. And there's no. But he came in and said, "Hey, this is a good team. There's not much I have to do." And he's playing back. He's doing what he has to do behind closed doors. And that my experience in hockey is that's why you can't underestimate them. They're surely the number 2 chalk team to make the Stanley Cup from the West right now in that side, and they're favored to win their bracket down there. But we got to find someone that can beat them, and I think they're going to get a scare from the Mammoth.
Really? Okay.
I really do. I think the Mammoth is real, and their focus, what they're trying to do to the established Vegas could happen.
Yeah.
I was in Vegas over the weekend visiting, the best sporting event ever put on the face of the planet. the less scripted one compared to the NBA out there. But a lot of the controversy and a lot of talk was who's going to go with the gold.
WWE is what he's talking about.
Incredible.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk on goaltender choices, and when they announced who they were going with, it was kind of like a mixed reaction on it. So that I think that's his most controversial, but it's worked out at least. Like you said, even though they lost, it wasn't like they gave up 8 goals, 9 goals, something to that effect. So it's going to be fascinating. This is a series where we know these Utah guys. I of course know Vegas pretty well. I am like you. I'm a little low on them right now. But I've liked how Utah's looked so far in this series as a young team compared to the veterans. We'll have to see what it does going home and stuff. On the other hand, you got Edmonton, Anaheim. Anaheim, in my opinion, it snuck into the playoffs, but not a team that really should be there. But they woke up last night and beat Edmonton 1-1 series now there. Are you high on Edmonton in this playoffs, or are you
well, no, like because Draisaitl kind of was late to the party, even though he's playing, and they have hugely Edmonton problems. The last 2 years, at least, they tried the blue line and goaltending. This year, their blue line and goaltending isn't really it. What was the score last night? 6-4.
Yeah. So a lot of goals.
If you're an NBA fan, watch that series because you're going to get points in it. And the Ducks are a good team. The issue with the Ducks is they're a year ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
These guys are all diaper dandies, but they can play and they're gritty. Their coach is underrated, and Edmonton's ripe as a Georgia peach. And that's why I say if the Mammoth could get to the Ducks, that could be a favorable matchup down there for them. Meanwhile, all the big, huge monsters are competing now, Dallas and Minnesota, as well as Colorado, who's the team to beat. So that West looks like somebody's got to beat Colorado, and I think we're going to find someone. And the East is wide open. Montreal looking tough as
I was going to bring up Montreal, but first, Dallas, Minnesota. Dallas gets the overtime win last night. 2-1 series here. I'm not high on Dallas because of their goaltender. At some point, he falters, which costs them. But also Minnesota. I thought Minnesota would be a team that would get through this to face Colorado. I'm disappointed in Minnesota so far. What are your thoughts?
It's too early in a series to be disappointed or ecstatic about any team. These are 7-game series, and like Minnesota, Dallas is probably going 7. So, to blow too much emotion now, I would advise against. What I do want to say is let's just go over what the numbers are, okay? Yep. Home teams 10-8, favorites 10-8. That means every home team obviously has been the favorite.
Yeah.
And the overs are 8-7-3, but
rightfully so they should be.
Let's talk about home team. Yeah, rightfully so they should be. That's exactly John Q's approach. And when the reason I track these numbers and these openers is that every time a home team opens, they're at one number, say 150, and then 5 minutes before the game, then they're at minus 170.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm looking for advantage and I want my dollar to return as much as possible, what I'm preaching, you can go to my webpage and see every single day of the Stanley Cup what we've been doing, and I'm 9-8. So I'm 9-8, and home team's 10-8. I can't make any qualms about it. I have to take road teams. Why? Because on, like today, we have a game, Dallas, tonight playing Minnesota. They open at plus 111, all right? Now they're plus 125. Why? Because everybody perceives Minnesota as being in the absolute must-win. They don't want to go to Dallas. And 2 games ago, Minnesota was flying high 5-1 to win the cup and stuff. So the emotions run high, and you got to be aware of what these numbers are. So Dallas today's plus 125, and by tonight, they'll be 130.
Yeah, that was actually yesterday, just so you know.
Oh, those were yesterday's numbers.
Yesterday. So you're giving yesterday's numbers, which is fine, but it's a good example there.
It's a perfect example.
Tonight you got Buffalo, Boston, which Buffalo, young team. Boston's a young team, but Buffalo, getting away from home here to go to Boston. Carolina, Ottawa tonight, and then Colorado and the Kings as well tonight into this series. Buffalo-Boston's been a fun series to watch. Buffalo had to come back in that first game. As well to win that there. Boston gets the second game in Buffalo, back to Boston. Now, I think Buffalo is going to relax a little bit going to Boston. They get away from that crowd that raucous crowd in Buffalo a little bit. So that'll be a fun game to watch tonight as well, 4 p.m. our time. Carolina, Ottawa, to me, Lou, tell me if I'm wrong, garbage series. I don't even care about it. Carolina's winning this thing. I don't even care other than can Carolina get out of it without getting beat up, because the longer this goes, the Kachuk brother is just going to try to beat people up constantly. Then Colorado Kings. Kings are fighting in this series. They're not going to make it easy for Colorado, even though Colorado's going to win it. They're not going to make it easy for them here. But I also think Colorado needs to finish this series early to get a break here while the other series, Dallas and Minnesota, goes long in this series, because that's just going to set up Colorado for a long run here if they get some rest.
There's a lot to say there. First thing is you don't want too much rest between series. The last thing Colorado wants to do is sweep LA, especially easy, sit there for 8 days waiting for the winner of a 7-game series. They don't want that. So, and I'm not saying they're going to let LA win, but you have to raise an eyebrow with LA because they have played their style of hockey and only allowed Colorado 2 goals in 2 straight games. Mm-hmm. Consequently, you got to raise an eyebrow at Colorado and say, listen, this team here, they can outskate you, they can outscore you, and yet they can outplay defense with these 2 woods in goaltending. So
and it went to overtime in the second game as well. So I mean, LA took them all the way to overtime before Colorado ended up winning it.
Yeah,
so.
Scoreboard, baby, 2-0 is what it reads. And so, and Colorado's the other one. Colorado, really, LA's got to find a way to win a game. Colorado can't sweep them. That I think will be a stumbling point for Colorado in this next series, because the winner of Dallas and Minnesota into Colorado is going to be another brutal series. The second brutal series for Minnesota or Dallas, but the first brutal series for Colorado, maybe. This one could end up being it. Yeah. So it's wide open. It looks great.
Yeah.
I just want to review again, the webpage has the positions.
We'll talk about Montreal here. I mean, they're tied 1-1 with Tampa Bay, but I've liked the way I've said they're live in this series. I don't necessarily know if they're going to win it, but I say they're live in this series, and they're going to make this a fun, competitive series. They've done that so far against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, last year Montreal made the playoffs, and we said, they're just a year early. Mm-hmm. And they got their nose bloody, but they learned how to play playoff hockey. We can see that now in how they're playing Tampa. So these 2 games in Montreal are huge. If they go back down 3-1, they're going to be tough to beat. And if it's 2-2, we got another 7-game series on our hands. But Montreal is young, aspiring, ascending, and learning. And Tampa is old and tired and doing everything that their genius coach can do, who, by the way, is on the Parcells and Belichick level as far as coaching, as far as I'm concerned. He's doing everything he can do to keep his team believing and relevant. But this Montreal team, if they get by Tampa, they're really dangerous.
Yeah, can they do it is the bigger question that we got to look at. So wrap up, other series here, like I said, Pittsburgh, Philly. That, to me, I knew was going to be a terrible series. I just was more interested in the hate for the 2 cities and everything. That's even been kind of a dud after the first game there. But your thoughts overall on the series? What did you want to add on the hockey side?
Yeah,
go to gamblu.com, by the way, if you need the info.
I was just surprised that Pittsburgh hasn't put up any fight with those veterans.
No fight, right?
I mean, Tockett's got these young kids flying around and believing it, and that's a team. Again, you got to raise an eyebrow. That goaltender let in an unbelievable goal the other night, but that's a young team again that I think they're there too early, and a team like Montreal will have advantage over a lot of these teams because of what happened last year. Mm-hmm. And if they beat Tampa, it'll be because of what they've done this year by beating Tampa.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They'll dispose of a good team right off the bat, so that kind of just hypes them up a little bit as they continue on.
Well, a team that with Carolina was the chalk to come through that side.
So the hockey playoffs are underway. I'm excited about them. Is that all you're doing for the most part? I know you got UFC stuff.
We've been going game by game. The future positions were posted 6 weeks ago. And so the fact that I have Tampa to win the East and Montreal to win the East, they're playing each other. Of course, I don't set it up that way if I know what the bracket looked like back then. There was no bracket back then. So I've got, the good news is one of my guys is going on, and I'm hoping it's Montreal at 14-1, obviously. So.
Yeah, some good numbers.
And
there.
then I have Minnesota in the in the West. And those are the only futures I've done. Normally I do a whole bunch of futures at the beginning of the year, but because last year was a pretty terrible year for me, I spent 10 months thinking about how I was going to approach this one. And I figured the first round, what I would do is back off and maybe catch more understanding early. And man, am I glad that I did. I would have had Pittsburgh pretty strong.
It changed
There's
a lot.
one
Yeah.
that I would. I mean, think about it, and nobody wants to admit that. They're just warm manure out there on the ice. So there were some big misses there. There were a couple of hits, of course, but I'm glad for last year because it's made me really focused. Not to mention the fact that we're at 9-8 plus 2.12 units, which represents 25% ROI, but the season's early. But that's where we stand today, and it'll be out tonight. You just go to the webpage.
Absolutely, the webpage is where you go. You have to actually like log into the website. You don't charge anything. But
there's no charge, but you have to put an email in and sign up so that you can go to the NFL tab and hit commentaries, and then you're in. It's,
you go.
And if that's too complicated for you, then good luck.
I just wanted to reiterate: you're not being charged. You're just filling out to get to that page on there with a little bit of information is what you're getting at Gamblu.com.
Yes, thank you.
Yep. So and then let's take our break here. Then we'll get into UFC. Last weekend, fight night up there from Canada. Speaking,
Steve cheated. He cheated on us. He didn't watch. He was at
the greatest sports event in the history of man.
He was at General Hospital Visits Las Vegas.
Didn't watch a lick. I saw some highlights and I read about it, obviously getting ready for this and stuff. But it felt weird not watching it. I'm not going to lie to you as well. But hey, I was watching the most
but did you have fun?
organization.
You didn't miss the UFC at all, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, good.
Well, that's actually the reason why I didn't watch it, Lou. Was I was like, oh crap, UFC's on.
Yeah, all right.
Come on back, folks. Talking next with Uncle Lou.
Steve, I got a new phone. My wife switched things, and I went from iPhone 12 to 16, and I'll be honest with you, it's too touchy. I don't know how to work it. I can't mute it. I can't get
17, Lou. I have taken so many pictures.
You know where that's going to be on the 10th of never.
Of random stuff, like there's buttons everywhere. I'll look down at my pictures and I'll be like, "What the heck's that a picture of?" And it's some random. I'm just taking pictures while I'm walking down the road, just holding it. It's man, how old are we, Lou? That's all I'm going to say right now. How old are we?
Well, I'm throwing a shadow on you, so I'm just saying. And thank God I've got this. My associate at the real estate company, Christian's a young 25-year-old ASU kid. And I just give him the phone and tell him what I need to do. Hey, tell Siri to talk louder, and he does it. I can't figure the dadgum thing out.
Yeah, well, that's a big jump from 10 to 16 too. That's a technological
it's touchy, and I can't
right
put it in
there.
my pocket. And there used to be an on-off. I just hit the switch, and mute would go on.
Yeah.
Now there's a push button, and then all kinds of stuff comes up.
Yeah, like do a little dance and move around and stuff like that. That's all right. We'll get through it. We'll get through it, old man. Don't worry about it.
That's what my son says. Meanwhile, we got fights this weekend.
Well, last week, let's just talk about last week a little bit because I did see some stuff up there. Of course, we had an MMA lab fighter in this fight last weekend as well, Kyler Phillips.
Yes.
How do you think he did last week in his fight? And I just lost it here on my screen.
Against Charles Jourdain, the Canadian. We talked about this fight, how close it would be. And I don't know if I mentioned points handicap or not, but that was the bet that the Gamblu
You said points are in play, I think is what you said.
Yes, they were, and they were in play because we took Phillips plus 3.5 because, number one, I'm a lab guy. Number two, I knew how prepared he was for this fight and this fighter because they've already fought this guy before, and the gym knew exactly how to prepare him. And he had been losing steam in the third round in previous fights. He didn't in this one. He just needs to – you don't put on thickness and strength in a camp or two. And it takes a couple years for a guy to get that weight training right. He's a kid that never needed it because he was so fast, flashy, and unorthodox Well, now he's in with the top 1% of the world. He's got to strengthen up a little bit. And he showed great evolution in this fight, just didn't have it at the end. And, of course, it was a split decision that went to – or excuse me, it was a unanimous decision. It went 29-28 to the other guy, the Canadian. Well, we took Phillips on the points. We're getting 3.5, makes us a winner. So sometimes, especially if I'm betting against an Englishman in London, or if I'm betting against a Aussie in Perth, if I want to go against the guy and I know it could be a decision, I take those points because I could get that home cooking decision against me, and you got to prepare for it. So that was a good one.
Okay.
I got one question for you. When you say they prepare a guy for a certain fighter,
Yes.
and so they spar, I assume, against another fighter in their lab,
Absolutely.
And then do they have the sparring partner do what they think that fighter's going to do, or how do you prepare for different fighters?
Yeah, that's a great question, and they do it differently up there, and I'm always fascinated by what fighter they are training, who that fighter's fighting, because I know that, and then what they're doing with him in the cage in practice. But a lot of it is simple stuff that comes from football. For instance, they're going to make him fight a guy that's pretty well-rounded. He's a wrestler and a striker. So they put him in, and they put a wrestler in with him for the first 5 minutes, and they just wrestle the bejeebies out of him and get him so freaking tired in between rounds he's drinking. Then in the second round, they put in little Joe Slick, fast guy, because now he's gassed and he's all swole up, and now he's got to try and strike with the fast guy, and then he has to fight that style. And then in the next round, they'll put a different wrestler back in. So not only am I fighting different styles and looks each round based on what those coaches want me to look at, but I'm fighting fresh guys that are coming in for 5 minutes. And when you're on your 15th minute, man, you're just tripping on your tongue.
Right. Wow.
It's fascinating. And I learn a lot about my buddy, the coach, by what he does to these kids, because I tell them. And then there's kids that are fighting the athlete getting ready for a fight. I'm like, who the hell's that?
Right.
That person's unbelievable. So, and that's another reason you want to go.
So, so an MMA Lab, a lot of play here on this show. I got to get up there one weekend and visit those guys on a Saturday, Lou. So,
well, you're invited to come with me, and
exactly.
you just sit there, and it's really a cool deal.
I'll just stare and be intimidated, to be honest with you.
No, it's like being at a college homecoming. All these young kids motivated around you that are trying to deal with self-betterment. It's really an awesome environment.
Absolutely.
You might want to give him the protocol, because I can see Steve going, "Hey, you're letting your left hand down. Come on, get your guard up."
Yeah, no, only Crouch gets to give the orders.
No, there I'll be so quiet. I'll be like, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir." These are world-class killers, Dale. That we're talking about here.
And you wouldn't believe. I mean, the culture is understated, usually shy, introverted, quiet. The last thing you'd think about fighters.
Yeah.
You go in there, they're fisting you. They couldn't be nicer and more respectful, especially because next to them I'm 3 times their age, for Christ's sake. So,
right.
It's really great. It's a great
that's what they
environment.
Because it was funny. Walking around Vegas, I did see a few guys that lower tier. I'm going to say lower tier UFC guys there over the weekend. And it's like you just don't know they're UFC guys. I just remember thinking there, going, how many guys at a club or whatever try to pick fights with these guys? They don't know that they're literally trying to pick a fight with this giant guy who's just a paid killer in life and everything.
Back when we grew up, Lou, you get in a fist fight, you'd be done with it, you'd go on your way. Now they got these jiu-jitsu and sweeping legs.
And that's if it's one-on-one.
Yeah.
Normally the guy that's got the most
they look like
Skajunis has got 8 guys behind him.
They, with regular clothes on, dare I say it, they look small and just innocuous.
Oh yeah, you don't want to underestimate your adversary.
No.
Uncle Lou deals with yes or no sir to anybody, just like it's a cop.
I didn't know the name of the guy. Somebody else told me, but I just remember being like, that guy? All right, if you say so.
No. And the smaller they are, they're so fast.
And then I walked so far away from him around the corner, so there wasn't an accidental. No, I'm just kidding with you. But yeah, no, it is funny to watch. But the other guy I want to talk about here, Gilbert Burns and Mike Mellett.
Yes.
There, when last Thursday when we talked, of course, guys, don't forget, he talks here before the weigh-ins. Weigh-ins happened Friday morning. Does the Bout Business podcast. So for some updates on what he thought. Burns was a plus 230 dog last Thursday. You said pay attention to the over-under here, minus 105 at the time, and then start to round 3. It's kind of what you said to look at there. Well, it started round 3, but that was the end of it. Yeah, just the end of it.
So we split on this fight because I had Gilbert Burns plus 13.5, which means all he's got to do is go to a decision. Yeah. And unless the other kid wins all 5 rounds, which I didn't think he would do, nor would I think the judges would score it that way. All for naught. Mellett finishes him, and so that cooks the fight. The Burns bet plus the points. That's a loser. But the fight to start round 3 is a winner, tied into a future position on the DraftKings menu for a fight coming up either this week or next week. So I do that a lot to take a minus 200 guy with another minus 200 guy. And if the first guy wins, then when the fight shows up and there's a 2-1 favorite, we have him at plus 150. And so that's huge advantage to be able to manipulate yourself into. And we do it a lot. What we need the fighter to do a little bit more often is win in that position, because it's tough.
That's the hard part, man. You do everything you're supposed to do, and then they let you down, right?
Well, getting value on the number is one thing, and then your guy has to show up.
Now you were high on, I'm not gonna say high on Burns, but you like Burns in this, taking him with the points. You expect him to be in this fight.
Yes.
Stuff like that. Knockout is what happened there in the third round. Does that change your opinion on Burns at all?
He's retired. So
afterwards, yeah.
So no, I wish he would have said, if I lose, I'll retire.
Well, that's what I was leading you towards here, because he obviously went into this with those thoughts in his mind.
Yeah, my handicap was not as much for Burns, although I thought he was fighting for his career, which he clearly was. But they were also partially fade against Mellett, and that sentiment still exists.
Okay, yeah, because I just when you find out afterwards, and you're just like, should have known that ahead of time.
Well, I spent hours listening to all that stuff. He didn't seem to give any indication of that.
Yeah, I guess it was a surprise.
But when you're 40, the handicapper should be aware. And I lamented the fact that there was that age difference, and I walked right into it. And last year I did a lot of that, and I haven't done that this year. This is the first time. Might be the last.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's different, and you guys are going to laugh at me, but at WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar is out there, and he does his match, first one on Sunday. And everybody's geeked up about it. And then he surprisingly retired in the middle of the ring, takes his stuff off, puts it down, and stuff like that. And then I was sitting there, everybody's shocked by it. And I go, the guy's 48 years old. It was coming.
Lesnar's 48?
48 years old, yeah. I was like, it's coming. Yeah, and that remember you watching him and all this other stuff before wrestling?
He must have been 40. I don't know, against Mark.
It's been a long time.
I made a lot of money fading Brock.
But it is weird. Like, nobody had an inkling he was going to do that. I threw the X up to say, hey, I'm going off script here to do it. So it's just one of those things where how they could keep that secret kind of surprises me, is what I'm getting at, with especially on the UFC side.
Brock Lesnar and Bullwinkle, both imaginary figures when it comes to training.
Lesnar's the beast. Come on, man. Come on.
Let's get back to sports.
He got run out of the UFC, baby.
He did. Yeah, well, they try to run him out of the WWE.
Tail between his legs. Remember when your dad tried to kick you in the ass and you tucked it in as you were running away? That's how Lesnar left the UFC.
So this weekend, you got a Meta Apex fight over there in Las Vegas. They're returning their Apex fights generally mean. I got to find a better way to say it than guys you just don't know for the most part. There's some guys like Ryan Spann we know, at least I do here, and things to that effect. But generally it's fighters, on the unknown side of the UFC cards out there. Tell us about this fight, Lou.
You tiptoed around that appropriately.
Okay.
Yes.
I phrased it right.
Well, I write an article each week that goes out on Tuesday, so I get a chance to AI it and figure out how can I say that nobody knows anybody on this card. Oh, well, we have an obscurely populated fight.
Oh, there you go. That's a big word, though. I don't use big words.
So really, on the undercard, there's some obscure fighters. However, there's 2 lab fighters on the undercard we should talk about.
Absolutely.
And after that, there's really the fights we want to talk about exist in the main card. It's an Apex fight card, so it's 25-foot cage, and we only have 370-pound fights or greater, meaning there's not huge men in this small cage, but 3 of the 11 or 12 fights, we lost a fight, I think. So I work all of that out. There's 5 fights where someone has to fly in from out of the country to Vegas and compete against somebody from the U.S. that doesn't have to fly in, or they're not from the U.S., but they live in Brazil, but they're training in Florida.
Yeah.
So I want to know who has to travel, because even though they're used to it and it's part of the game, flying does affect the cut, and you want to know not only who could have indications of flight effect on their weight cut, but if they do, they're fighting somebody that's a domestic fighter. Again, I'm just trying to search for some kind of advantage.
Tiredness or weight on the weight cut? Is it more tiredness so they can't cut it, or is it more you retain water and things like that, obviously at 30,000 feet? So is it more that as well?
It's the whole thing.
Okay.
The travel does both of those to you. And
well, and you eat all those peanuts, on the Southwest flight.
And 7 times it doesn't affect you, and you make the cut fine. And the 8th time something happens.
Right.
I think they're pretzels.
They don't even give peanuts away.
Yeah,
They pick the stuff up off of the floor and put it in bags and give it out.
Lewis.
That's what they do.
So it's a small cage here coming up here. Well, tell us who the 2 MMA fighters are. We should pay attention to the prelims.
You mean we're talking about fights here?
Yeah.
Well, you guys shoot me on my WWE talk.
I don't have my glasses. Okay.
Well.
The good news is that 2 of the fights, actually there's 4. 2 of the 4 fights that are big boys involve lab guys. And on the undercard, let's start with Dumas against McVeigh. Now, this guy Dumas is one interesting character. He has a hard time getting a full camp in because he's either in the can or wearing an ankle brace all the time. This dude's got more trouble with the law than Al Capone did in the 30s. I'm just telling you. He's I don't know how he trains. I don't believe his IQ is great, fight IQ. Outside the cage, clearly it's suspect. So he's long, he's tall, but he's a street kid, and he's willing and he's game. He opens a plus 130 to this kid named McVeigh, comes out of the MMA lab, 0-2 in the UFC. McVeigh is 27, so he's a little younger, going to be a couple inches taller. And he went McVeigh from minus 150 at open. They're betting him a little. He's minus
185.
He's minus 185 now. Here's a fight you really, I don't know if you want to get involved with it or not, but I can tell you, I know what they're saying to McVeigh, and I know we're going to get McVeigh's best, but I think that you can expect to get Dumas's best as well. The good news for McVeigh is he drives 3-4 hours up to Vegas, and Dumas comes in from Florida. And who knows if he comes in and brings trucks or how he comes, but he'll get there somehow. If the fight goes off, I gotta like McVeigh because I think he's going to be fight. He's 0-2. This is his 3rd fight. He's going to be fighting for his life. So
he's got to win, basically, right?
Well, let me ask you before you go on. So, how many fights can you lose to start your career and still continue on? Is there like, hey, at 0-3, you're done.
Usually,
or 0-4.
Kind of at 0-2, you're fighting for your career.
Okay.
A lot of times. Now, Phillips, who last week lost his 3rd in a row, they came back after the fight and made it clear to him, hey, we're getting you right back in there. You're going to get another contract. Don't worry, you're good. Don't sweat anything. So that was, and they don't often do it they don't do that often. So they went out of their way to assure that kid not, he's a dad with a new child. So, but
it's also the way he fight. He might be losing, but he's putting a good fight on while he's out there.
Yeah, and he was
There's a difference between losing
three top
and losing.
10 guys, bang, bang, bang. So and he's good. So they see merit in him, which is good. And I want to give the UFC their feather in their cap when they deserve it, and they often do, because oftentimes when they deserve to get criticized, I'm not afraid.
Right.
Over under on this fight is 1.5. And it's minus 166 to the under right now for this fight. So, middleweight bout, power to knock out, or this isn't a submission fight, a wrestling fight.
No, these are two long guys going to stand there and see who can go on. That under is
That's
interesting.
A big number. That's a big number.
Yeah, I mean, I might look at fight starts round 2 and go yes on that if I didn't have to pay too much price. But I'm not great at round predictions. I want to match up the fighters, and I like that McVeigh is close to home from the lab and fighting for everything.
Yeah, so it just that's a big number on the under here, 1.5 for these middleweight guys. Who's the other MMA lab guy we're talking about here?
The next one is Eric McCollum, and it's in the next fight going up. Now you got a Rodolfo Vieira coming in from Brazil, big, huge, chiseled Brazilian who's got some power, but a great BJJ game, but flying in from Brazil to Vegas, has to travel against a kid who lives here in Phoenix. So a little advantage, McCollum there. McCollum 35, Vieira 36. McCollum way more striker, but because of the gym he works at, he's prepared for the attack he's going to get from Vieira. And so he's going to probably try and keep this fight standing. The issue with McCollum standing is will he fire? If we can get the guy to be busy and motivated, he's really well prepared. So this should be a very interesting fight, one in which I don't know if I really want to have much to do with. Vieira is minus 240 or 250.
Minus 290 right now. The money's going his way, I'm assuming?
He opened 300, so
it's opposite,
it's about there. But, he's won some UFC fights. This is a huge fight for McCollum, father of 5, needs to stay in the organization. It's a great way for him to earn money. So, again, I want to say we're going to get McCollum's best effort, but based on past results, I'm less willing to consider a wager on him and more maybe to the McVeigh side if I were to pick one of those.
One of the two, yeah. Over under on this one's 2.5. It's minus 125 to the over, minus 105 to the under on this fight. So Vegas is like,
yeah, that means by the third round they're both going to be tuckered out and just leaning on each other, which may advantage McCollum because that means they're standing up. He doesn't want to be on the ground with this killer.
Yeah, and Vieira obviously a more wrestler type.
Here,
but
but he's all chiseled up, and after a round and a half, 2 rounds, he gets all swole.
Yeah. So McCollum.
That's always been my problem, Lou.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, after a round or 2, I get all swole.
You get all swole up.
Yeah.
That's what we say about Dale around these parts. Trust me, folks.
That's right.
So those are 2 pay attention to prelim fights that we
those are
to?
the 2 that I would have you pay attention to. There's, I mean, other than that, they're undersized. There's a couple of female fights. That's when that'll be a pillow fight. You go get a sandwich and come back.
They're gonna go the 15 minutes and things to that effect. First fight on the main card, you got Ryan Spann, the one guy I've seen fight on this card, against Bruschetta.
Buchecha.
Yeah, Buchecha. Sorry, folks.
So Spann has got UFC experience. He kind of is a front runner. We've talked about him. When things are going his way, he's on fire. But if there's a guy that's going to be there into the second round and he's smiling at Spann in between rounds coming out for the second, Spann doesn't like that kind of attitude too much. He can curl up. And so Spann also, this is a heavyweight fight. Yep. He fought a couple times before at heavyweight 255. He was a 205er. But what you take into each fight doesn't change. And he's working on that. But the way to beat Spann is to let him know you're going to be there all day, 24/7, 365. And who does he draw? But he draws this guy from Chile. Is it Chile he's from?
It says.
I can't read my writing.
I apologize. You have that problem. It says Brazil on the UFC page.
Yeah, I think he's from Chile. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This dude's a world-class vice grip grappler. And so as soon as this fight starts, this dude going to get shot out of a cannon and go right to Spann, take him down, get on top, and start to smear his skin all over the canvas of the floor. This is going to be a very one-sided fight unless Spann can find a way to keep it up and try and hit him from outside and hurt him early. A lot of times, vice grip wrestlers or grapplers are so good at what they do, but they have to learn how to strike, which is not common to them. But more importantly, they have to learn how to evade strikes, and that does not come. And a lot of times wrestlers can be chinny. Yeah. Why? Because they've never taken one right on the eye tooth before. So Spann's going to try and knock this dude into next week, and Buchecha's just going to go put his head on Spann's chest and rub him out. And I think Buchecha minus 150.
Minus 148 right now.
That's a run, don't walk bet.
Hold on. So which one of these is my eye tooth?
This one here.
That one right there.
Right here in the front.
Well, the other interesting thing is on this.
I don't know the name of the other teeth.
That's the only one.
The incisor.
Over unders 1.5 in this fight, minus 175 to the under. So Vegas is thinking kind of like you are, at least. The gamblers are here that Buchecha is going to get in there and get that done.
Or that Spann's going to catch him running in and knock him cold.
The wrestlers, man, when they go in there, they just stick their head out there. And if you get one, to the temple or to the chin, and
or
you
a
just
knee,
get knocked out right off the bat.
Yeah, Spann's 6'5" long, and he's got bad intentions. So and he's going to come out firing early. He knows that this guy wants to take him late, so he's thinking, let me see if I can't ring him up.
As Ryan Spann hasn't fought for a while, right?
I don't have that set up in front of me.
Because according to them, he hasn't fought since last July. I'm sorry, November of 2025.
That would be right. And he
so
weighed 255 in that fight.
Yeah. Because it's just the layoff there for a heavyweight bout and everything going into it.
And he's 34 years old fighting a 36-year-old. So Buchecha is his debut in the UFC. He's got no time to mess around. He can't lose.
Oh, that's his debut.
This is his debut. He got no time to screw around.
Debuters don't do well in terms of records in the UFC,
especially against an experienced guy. Yeah. But this matchup is run, don't walk.
Okay,
I said that once.
Yep, Montel Jackson here against Raoni Barcelos.
Barcelos, man, what an unbelievable fight this is going to be. This is a really well-equipped guy in Montel Jackson that's going to be 3 inches taller, 5 years younger, a lefty with reach advantage. So when it's standing up, he's going to want to keep on the outside and pepper Barcelos as Barcelos tries to get in. Barcelos is a Brazilian, a little shorter, and he's a little bit older as well. As I say, Barcelos 38, but his game ain't 38 years old. This dude is really a killer. This is going to be an unbelievable fight. Jackson has some wrestling, and Barcelos will probably want to get this to the ground to try and get a neck or an arm. And so I think if it goes to the ground, Barcelos will have advantage. But even standing, it can be on par because sometimes Montel Jackson isn't as busy on his feet as he needs to be. This is going to be a fight you want to watch. And how's it lying? Not Buchecha, but Montel Jackson minus 160.
Minus 180.
Minus 180. So, boy, that's a good price on Barcelos. But he's the aged guy, so that causes me to hesitate.
Is that the opening number by chance?
The opening number was Jackson minus 300.
Oh, so it's really come down there. Okay.
So there's been some Barcelos.
I was asking because usually the UFC pages that I use don't match up exactly with the DraftKings that we use for the updated odds, and it is dead on to it. So that's why I was wondering if it's moved at all there.
Yeah, UFC odds paid that's the same as Aesop's Fables. Paid no attention to that.
Over under on this 2.5 minus 180 to the over in this fight as well. Don't miss it.
Oh, going to be a great fight.
One more quick question, then I'll be done. So you can throw all your fights.
Good.
What makes you say? Because they're all badasses.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
What makes you say a guy's a killer? Because you say that, you don't say that about everybody. You say that about, I would say, maybe 10% of the fighters.
He's the finisher, and it usually has a lot of things wrapped up into it. Okay. Usually, physically, they stand out, and equipment-wise, they stand out, meaning they're usually a wrestling base that can strike.
Right.
If it's two pure strikers, then that's a different assessment, but the wrestling base puts you over here.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a football coach, the first day, all the little kids are there. Who wrestles?
Yeah.
And those 4 or 5 kids, right, those guys go over here.
Right.
That's your core of your team.
Right.
There's the guys that already have guts and brawn and sweat, and all they do is work all day. That's what you want, and that's your base.
Okay.
But other than that, it's if you finish.
Yeah. Okay.
Davy Grant and Martinelli here batting up. Ecuador and England fighters battling it out. Is Martinelli a late ad or something?
He's a late ad. He comes in late, but he's a finisher. He's got all the qualifications, but this is his debut fight. He comes in on short notice, getting ready to fight someone else. Who's he get? Davy Grant, Englishman that now is the striking coach for Eric Nixick up in Las Vegas at Extreme Couture. So he lives in Vegas. He moved his family there from England. He's been training there. He's the striking coach there. He's making some money. He gets a fight. He's 40, okay? But he's 40, but he don't fight like he's 40. And Kid Martinelli's 30. So here's Davy Grant with a wealth of UFC experience, been in with the best, fighting in his backyard with his family in tow, and he's getting ready to take on this killer Martinelli, who's coming in all kinds of finishing power, but stepping up into his debut into a UFC fight.
At 30, too.
Yeah, and you see that Davy Grant, last I see here, is like plus 105.
Plus one. No, Davy Grant's minus 135.
So now Davy Grant's gone into minus 135.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me because you'd almost have to favor that situation with him, despite the fact he's 40. I don't know enough about the other kid to make an assessment, and Grant's coming in off a loss. Yeah. So there's other spots here for me. I think this one may not be one. I want to learn about what Martinelli has.
The other thing is, you said he comes in with all this power. This over-under is 2.5, minus 180 to the over. Now, that could be just Grant, obviously, avoiding the power punches and stuff.
And durability.
And do that with the durability because of his experience on that. But with that power there, kind of surprised me.
So then,
on that.
Yeah, well, that lends me to, they think it could go to a decision.
Mm-hmm.
If it does, boy, I'd sure like to have the local Las Vegas
guy there.
And so, but if he's favored, he'll be the one. He'll be giving 3.5 points. So we'll have to see what that is. That'll be a good plus price.
Plus 125 right now.
If Grant minus 3.5 plus 125, that might be the way I would want to go because he wins he's going to have to win a decision or finish him, and he's going to have to win a good decision. 29-28 three ways, you're on the opposite end now.
Yeah,
you lose.
So that'll be a big one there for the local guy coming into Las Vegas. Rafi Garcia, Alexander Hernandez here. Mexico, United States fighters here coming into this one. Hernandez, the United States fighter, minus 130 coming into this fight.
Yeah, but he's from Texas, and he's Hispanic in background. So these are two Mexicans fighting from each side of the border. Hernandez has momentum and size. He's won his last 4 or 5. The guy's really ready and focused. A striker, struggles on the ground, and he's got Garcia, which is unusual for a Mexican fighter. Garcia has good, sound striking. He's very well-rounded, and he's a solid wrestler. Usually the Mexican fighter is all about standing up and slugging, but Garcia's got great wrestling, the more well-rounded fighter, and a legitimate 155er, whereas Hernandez has fought at 45 before. So this is another fight that's going to be just like Jackson and Barcelos. This is a fight you don't want to miss. Really closely matched guys. It's going to be a great fight. Alex Hernandez opens minus 150. Now he's minus
130.
130. So they see it close as well.
And a decision. It's 238 to the over. Minus 238 to the over.
Right.
As well.
So, and you got, a Mexican and a Texan. So in Vegas, maybe you lean Mexico. I don't know, but they're both Mexican or perceived that way. This might be, and you're going to have to pay a price. What's Garcia plus 3.5, minus 180?
Minus 190.
Yeah, right. I mean, that may be my route because they're letting me know it's going to decision. Yeah. And that protects me against the bad decision if it's a close fight, and I anticipate that's what it'll be.
Yeah, but that's minus 238 to the over. They're telling you it's going to decision.
So that's a parlay piece. I won't bet 190 to win one, but I'll bet minus 190 to another minus 190 and put one into 2 or one into 1.4, whatever that works out to be.
So there you go on that. Then you got a co-main event here of a women's fighter here. Norma Dumont and Jocelyn Edwards here. Panama and Brazil fighters matching up.
What's the total?
I knew you were going to go. That's why I didn't say it.
That's good.
Over-under's 2.5, minus 500 to the over.
Next fight, please.
That's why I didn't say it at the beginning. I figured you had to ask some question on that
Edwards
fight.
wants to stand. She's big, she's strong, but she's a front runner and isn't that tough. And Dumont's mean as a junkyard dog, wants to take her down. If she takes her down, she could finish her. Dumont submission might be a long bomb way to consider this, but I don't.
Minus 245, Dumont's the favorite as well in this fight. So, so that's where we're looking at there.
I'll be salting the rim on a nice cold margarita when those
That's your co-main event, Lou, right there. Then you got Sterling and Zalal here, United States Morocco fighters here for the main event.
Yeah, Zalal's a fighter that was in the UFC, and he came with all this hype. And it went to his head, and he was fast, athletic, and too busy reading his own headlines to fight, and he got kicked out and went and pulled his head out his rear end, came back, and he's 5-0 and since his return, fighting guys who are each fight getting better. Now he steps in with a former champion at a lower weight class, but this Aljamain Sterling is one bad hombre at 145. Now, Zalal trained at the lab here for about 10 days during this camp. So I got a good look at him. I actually got to talk to him. He's one of the nicest, most vivacious, bubbly, effervescent young men you ever. Oh, Mr. Positive. He's just a great young kid, and he worked hard while he was here. If he submits Aljo, he'll tie, I think it's Charles Oliveira for the most submissions in UFC history. And like a young guy, he's chirping a little bit, but he's good, he's fast, he's strong, he's 3 inches taller, he's 7 years younger than Sterling, but Sterling has that wrestling. And these two have trained before together, and I've heard through sources that are obvious to everybody what's happened there. And despite what I've heard, I still think it's going to be hard for the young man Zalal. If he can keep it standing and keep at the end and pitter-patter Sterling, he could probably win a decision on his athleticism. But A, I don't think he or his ego is going to let him do that. And B, Sterling's not going to let him do that. Again, for 145-pound wrestlers, the smaller cage, huge advantage to the wrestler. So there's less space for Zalal to be able to maneuver in. And so this is going to be a really competitive fight. You can tell by the total it's 4.5 over.
Minus 180 to the over.
Yeah, probably go, easily. I could see a lot of people could easily see it go to a decision. I think Sterling, while I believe he's hard to beat, I also know that the UFC's not high on him. They don't like him for whatever reason. He and his gym get kind of stiff-armed by the UFC to an extent, and they keep making Sterling go into these tough situations. And the design of this fight is for Zalal to move on. So you should know that betting it, because I gave out Sterling earlier. He opened minus 200. Now you can get him plus
105.
Oh, I got him plus 130 earlier in the week. That number's
right now.
That number's coming more to reality. It should be Sterling minus 120 or close to a pick. So there's that.
Yeah, and then definitely, like I said, they're favoring the decision here in this 5-round fight, minus 180 to the over as well here in this fight. But so one wrestler, one striker here in this main event?
No. Zalal very well-rounded,
okay.
BJJ, and Aljo world-class wrestling, which we know is kryptonite to BJJ. But on the feet, Zalal's footwork, his movement, his length will be far too much for Aljo to navigate. Aljo has no intention of playing the jab cross game. He's going to be a blitzing safety.
Okay. So we have some contrast here in this one, what we're looking at.
And I think Zalal's pride's going to say, okay, let's see what you got on the ground, and they're going to go down and roll.
What kind of Morocco? Where does he train out of Zalal? If Morocco fighter,
he's been training at Elevation in Colorado, but like I say, he came to MMA Lab. He's been to Florida. These kids with this kind of talent, well, it's because he wants to learn from everybody and soak it all in. There's that kind of move, which is good. And then the fighter that moves, they have 3 losses, then they move. And then they have 2 losses, and they move again.
Yeah,
there's the red flag.
That's the fighter. That's the fighter.
This kid here that's taken 2 or 3 camps in a 6-month period for one fight. He's trying to learn and see what's out there.
So let me tell you. So if you're a fighter like this kid and you want to go to a few different camps, you just make a phone call, kind of like a PGA pro saying, "Hey, I want to play Estancia or whatever."
Hey, Coach Crouch, this is Yusuf Zalal, and I'd love to come down and see what's going on at the lab. Could I come down and work out with you guys for a week, 10 days? Right. Absolutely. No problem. They got parameters that they have to. Basically, the only rules at the lab are you're not there to kill the other guy in practice. We're a team, and it's really not even a team. It's a family. Right. And so, and that's what I told Zalal. I said, hey, you hang around here any amount of time, you're going to find out. This ain't a team, bud. This is a family. And, he big smile. And then that's all I say, and then I walk away because I really don't want to engage these kids. They don't need to know why I'm there and what I'm doing.
They're going to be like, is that guy
better
than me?
Can I fight that guy?
And early on when I would go to the lab, when I would go in and they didn't know who I was, I'd be like, hey, I'm looking for a fight. Does anybody know where I can find a fight around here? And this little 135-pound guy's looking at, he's thinking to himself, look at this old man. And then I look over to the left, there's 18 guys standing in line want to go.
Yeah, that's the problem. When they all line up, Lou, that's not a good sign. That's the problem.
That's right.
Everybody raises their hands. You don't want to see that on that
We'll
side.
take them.
So we got NHL playoffs happening. You're obviously watching that. Big games on the plate tonight. UFC on Saturday. Weigh-ins tomorrow morning being a Vegas fight. Main card, by the way, 5 p.m. on Saturday for the Apex for UFC. Paramount, of course, as we go into this season as well. Lou, I appreciate you coming in as always. Everything else good?
Everything's great, guys. Thanks for having me. Have a great week.
I've told Steve this before, but when you say people are lining up, my rookie coach in Buffalo said, I don't need to tell you how you're doing. Because when we're doing one-on-one pass protection,
just look at the line.
If the defensive line coach has to call somebody to go against you, you're doing pretty good.
You're doing great.
If there's 5 dudes lined up across from you all wanting to go, you're struggling.
That's right.
By the way, next week, Perth, Australia, here, UFC Fight Night, and then we get another numbered card the week after that as well from Newark, beautiful Newark, New Jersey, 328. That'll be Kaimev and Strickland here in that one here. So we got a couple big weeks coming up in UFC fighting as well. We'll talk about that over the next couple of weeks. Lou, see you next Thursday. For everybody else, enjoy your hockey. Enjoy your knowledge here on the UFC you learned today as well. And don't forget about the Bout Business podcast with Uncle Lou tomorrow as well after the weigh-in. So fairly mid-morning or so it'll be up for you. Dale, we'll see you tonight at the draft party. And we'll talk some NFL draft with Bruce Cooper and maybe a special guest. We'll fill you in more on that later, but mostly me, Bruce Cooper, and Dale will be here. Lou, you're more than welcome to come and talk NFL draft tonight. We know you love that.
Well, we'll wait and see how it goes.
We'll see y'all next time.
Thank
Have
you.
a great afternoon, everybody.